it was a wonderful conversation, and I'm still interested to know how did you get involved into CSR? A little background to who you are.
Well, I'm Pravin Thipsay. I'm a chess grandmaster in Arjun Award in 1984, and I'm a FIDE senior trainer. That's World Federation's highest title. Just like grandmaster, I was 7 times Indian champion and Commonwealth and Asian gold medal. Will not come to that, but I was lucky to get an opportunity to play, represent India at the age of 15 because of my performance in the national junior in the very city of Bangalore. 50 years back.
Share a special relation with
Yes.
Today on this podcast, we are talking about CSR. So before we begin, I think it's essential to begin with where does corporate social responsibility begin?
Well, I think the word CSR is corporate social responsibility, obviously, and there's a law, as you see, 2013, 2014, by which corporates are required to give something to society, a few percentage of the profits. Now, why CSR had to be made? Because generally the social responsibility of the elite people was not up to the mark of the Western countries. As we see, for Bill Gates, there is no law for him to donate funds, but he donates 99% of his property to poor. And in England or in France or Germany, people contribute when they have more than enough. The problem of plenty is not there because they give it to the underprivileged people who are underprivileged, either orphans or poor, basically parents or whatever it is. So since that concept is not there, there remained a great gap between a class which was very rich and a lot of people who are deprived of the education and other parts. So government as a step to as a recovery step, government has started this law. But the existence of law shows that perhaps we are not strong enough a society who has good social responsibility. So the social structure is not going to change by that sort of literacy level. People say literacy level, if you write your name, you are literate. Now, does it make any sense? In my opinion, one who reads at least 100 pages every day is a literate person, at least 100 pages. So that is where I think free and equal education to all, equal quality education to all at the cost of the state. I think that is a basic requirement.
I think is that achievable with CSR, or is that achievable with society realizing it through? I don't know. I mean, I would not say that our financial or our political systems have to change, but what would essentially lessen this gap where society is balanced?
You make them try to become a graduate, you explain them. So you try to give them better education and not stop education, at least that much. Every person who has got some time, rather than browsing and being on WhatsApp, give 1 or 2 hours to a younger kid of a different background and teach them our ethics, our ways of life, and what, for example, people may not be aware of who the Prime Minister is or who the Chief Minister is, or if you want to make build a house.
Also, they would not even enforcing laws would not make any difference because they are not
What are your
aware
rights?
of it.
What are your rights? People don't know what is your right. For example, my brother was a High Court judge, and there's a case when he was at a smaller level. So there is an accident case in which the driver said that, okay, I agree to the crime. So my brother read, because he was new at that time, he read the entire sentence that you, while driving this vehicle at this time, you caused death of this person by your mistake, because that's the law says. So, no, it's not my mistake. Mistake was his. So that is his pleading non-guilty. But according to him, he hits the person, that is the offense. He hits the person with his mistake, that is the offense. Now, he has not been explained. Who needs to know their rights? I mean, are you not supposed to read the entire charge that because of your mistake that person has died?
Obviously, there will always be biases, and there will always
there cannot be any penalty without any mistake.
So we live in a society which lives on a lot of biases and lot of prejudices when it comes to especially class system. I think our country has gone through a lot of reforms. We are not in the same situation like how we were 70, 80 years back. We are in much better condition. From now, I think the onus is on privileged people to get sensitive to what underprivileged people go through, and I think it has to have to go through the both ways. If underprivileged people or less privileged people get more sensitized towards what government is trying to enforce and what corporates are trying to do for them, for their awareness. At the same time, I think people from higher class or privileged classes should also get sensitized towards issues that these less privileged people feel. I think that gap has to somewhere close in.
Yes, and the gap is not about giving money. You have more shirts, so
It
you
is a
give
human
shirt.
to
Yes,
human
yes.
kind of
You
thing.
try to
It's
teach
more
that
about
person.
empathy.
Try to there's different dialects and different language, different ways of expression, which actually tells you which class you belong to. And somewhere a bridge has to be built in. You teach them grammatically correct language, you teach them correct words, you teach them what you learn in inter school. You just discuss with a student from a public school, you make friends with them, you respect them. A particular class, underprivileged class, suffers from a sort of inferiority complex because they have smaller houses and they do not have, but they are not inferior people. If given that sort of education which a white collar person gets, they would be as good, but they develop an inferiority complex because they end up being in their father's position, and that is where the interaction, the empathy by the better people who are in a better position, that is required, and that is the social responsibility. That sense of social responsibility, if is there in the society, in the youngsters, that we don't even need laws like CSR. These are the aspects. You give time to them, you give whatever, you try to educate them to your level, and that is where you are really going to add to it. You want someone as good as you who is at the moment underprivileged. If that is your motto, because he is unfortunate to have been born at such parents, and why shouldn't he get the same privileges I get? If then that empathy, that thought comes to
It's
your
more
mind.
about what I can understand from our conversation is it's basically personal responsibilities responsibility at a personal level, and which involves morality, which involves ethics, which involves humanity at a larger level.
And gives up the entitlement, right to entitlement.
Exactly,
Yes, yes.
exactly. Okay, it was a wonderful conversation, and I'm still interested to know how did you get involved into CSR? A little background to who you are, because our viewers might be interested in knowing.
Well, I'm Pravin Thipsay. I'm a chess grandmaster in Arjun Award in 1984, and I'm a FIDE senior trainer. That's World Federation's highest title. Just like grandmaster, I was 7 times Indian champion and Commonwealth and Asian gold medal. Will not come to that, but I was lucky to get an opportunity to play, represent India at the age of 15 because of my performance in the national junior in the very city of Bangalore, 50 years back.
Share a special relation with Bangalore.
And that is where I got the opportunity where government paid the airfare, and I was there 20 days. My room partner was Swiss and the Africans and the West Indians and every country. And at that time I had a lot of interaction with them, because after you play a game, I've made a friend with New Zealand, Swiss, and also a player from France. So these are the people whom I interacted. I realized the difference in the cultures and the different way people look at it, different views, and it changed my mindset. Of course, my mother was a school teacher, municipal school teacher, and I saw a lot of underprivileged children coming to our home and asking her the doubts which they couldn't ask in school, and that she wouldn't hesitate, and probably such kids would end up eating at our place also. And my father was a freedom fighter. He was a escort of Bapuji in the Aga Khan Palace in Pune, and he is the founder member of the Peasants and Workers Party in Maharashtra. So we had the mentality of social responsibility, and to try to help out the underprivileged was what we started at the age of 3 or 4. And that was a very important thing, that we didn't know the religions and castes by names, and that was a big advantage. And as I moved in almost Western Europe, Eastern Europe, entire of Asia, including Iran, before when Shah was there and afterwards, so I saw a lot of reforms taking place, a lot of changes, and I interacted with people. People have not changed much. People are nice, but there are the barriers. If, for example, a child is talking to a slum dweller's child, mother or father will say, "Uske साथ क्यों बात करता है?" It's not a child. Two children met. One is wearing Hawaii chappals and one is wearing a very good shoes. Those two people can become friends. The parents interfere. and that is the natural human being is good, but somewhere we put the barricades or we
What
prevent
makes it bad?
what makes it bad, and that if we give up, the children automatically mix. They don't look at your shoes before making friends, but it happens at a family level and at a society level, and that is where it is going to affect. So I was lucky because I played Lebanese in the first round, in the second round Swiss, and so on, and it really worked. I could really understand the culture all over the world, almost 70 to 80 cultures I know, and that before I was graduated. So I really sort of formed an opinion, and was lucky to have a mother and father who really, if I did anything wrong, they would question me. And I had such, and if I ask a question, I would never get unanswered. So these parents, that you shouldn't ever be unanswered, and you are always answerable to your parents for the social
it
wrongs
begins
you
at
did.
home.
Yeah,
It begins at
home,
the level
and
of
yes.
when our children grow up, the kind of parenting that they go through, and the
Yes,
kind of values that the parents imbibe in their kids.
Yeah, the equality and equal opportunity has to be embedded in a child. When you look at my child special, it's not going to change. Yeah? So
You
government
need to
cannot
feel the
enforce.
same level of care for the other children.
Yes, and the CSR is only a law which gives money. It's not going to help to change mindset. Mind change we have to change. Social responsibility.
And if you have to, okay, before we close this, one final remark. What do you think about today's conference that we are having? As a university, do you think that university should have more conversations on this? And what is that one thing university can do to ensure that this level of thinking can be imbibed in?
Yes, I think it's wonderful being here. The atmosphere is very good, and I can see the enthusiasm among children. For one or two things I could really suggest is because there are students, and obviously the students are graduates. Some of them are on the way to become graduates. Some are even doing post graduation. You could have children of neighboring underprivileged schools. You could interact with them. You try to teach them the ways of life. You teach them history, geography. You don't have to be. You teach them basic maths as a part of your project. The university could implement a project where you really look at 6 or 7 families every student, and maybe that is a subject. You have to from that you start with the name and the profession of the kid and the father and the mother, and how they live and what's their income and what they teach, which school they go, and what was their level of knowledge, and you make a research. And it's not only for research, you try to change them. You try to change them to what you were at their age. That is what I think the university could
So
do.
we'll be glad to inform you. I think you might be already aware of this. These things, the fact that these conferences happen over here. We have also adopted one nearby village called Hakipeki, where we are doing a multitude of things. Last year we have ran one campaign called Alliance with Spandana, where we give free education to 25 plus kids from marginalized communities in Karnataka. So I think those small steps we are gradually taking up, and we are hopeful that even the CSR center, which is established here, will take care of these initiatives.
And one
in a much more
important thing about
progressive way.
CSR also, that a healthy community, mentally healthy as well as physically healthy, is important, and that is where sport also plays a very important role in society and in disciplinizing yourself, because sports has a specific rules, regulations, and a sports person will rarely jump the queue or travel without ticket. So sports also should be an integral part of not only the students here, but also the underprivileged children which are doing. And I myself, being a sports person, I'd like to ensure a healthy mind and a healthy body, and that can be attempted, and it's good for every child. I mean, even for you or those who are not playing sports, try playing sports, try to promote sports. 1 or 2 hours, 1 hour of any sport is going to make you healthier, it's going to make you live longer, and also it's going to be you're going to make you a better performer in your studies, because you will be happier in a happier phase of mind. You will understand the things quicker. So that is where I think sports also should be linked to social welfare rather than responsibility, and it could be a part of CSR as well.
Well, it was quite a delight to have a conversation with you. Pleasure. We'll hope for many more conversations like this.
Thank you so much.